This is. So that is ixarra. Ixarra. Almost there.
What does it mean?
It means different people come together in beautiful English, diverse people unite.
So there are no books in your language?
There are books in our language, but the books are not freely distributed. Also because of the amount of resources we have. We do not have the capacity to distribute large.
It says Aboriginal Embassy, so I wanted to know the difference. Is it Khoisan Aboriginal or Aboriginal is another?
Yes, well, the Aboriginal is basically, it's a term that was also sort of adopted. Aboriginals across the world, you hear about Canada, Australia, they are the first people in that country. So before colonization started in that country, there were people there. So those people are called Aboriginals, also referred to as First Nation people. So yes, in South Africa, the Aboriginal people have been called many names. They are the Khoisan, they've been called Hottentot, they've been called Bushmen, they've been called Sarwa, Basarwa. So yes, sometimes it's been called by the people that came here. Even our other African brothers, they would also, when they talk about us, they talk about Basarwa or the Sarwa people. It's maybe something in their language that defies us. Yes, but we also call ourselves the Tham people. There's others also, we call ourselves the Kwe, the Tung people. Then our tribes are the Namas, the Krikwas, the Koranas. So yes, we are the people of the soil. Unfortunately, we were forced to live now in a society where our way of life has been threatened to an extent that currently our hunting grounds is now game reserve, where sometimes we are even shot when we try to hunt there. Other times they literally are keeping us away from the game reserves because we need to ask now permission from the owner. Our own land, we have to ask permission. So yeah.
But the hunting part of things, you mentioned that if we were included earlier, we would have evolved by now. So which means you could have also been not needing to hunt.
Remember, as I said earlier, we could have evolved at our own space. But remember, what was the evolving that took place was, it was not our way. Our way is literally, it's a trade market. I might have chickens, you have got millies, this one got cabbage, that one. So it's trading, it's no need for money. So we could basically live by just trading each other, what you've got, what I've got. I think that the system that has adopted literally cut our resources to an extent is that when one looks at this system now, for us coming from nature where we didn't use money, and even as I said, maybe our evolving is you got that, I got that, so we don't need money. But now the system that we're in now, it's making us poor now, because now we need to have money. Ourselves, when we want to have something to eat here, we need to go to maybe ShopRite or Pick and Pay and buy. Other times we just eat from the garden. So yes, it means that the system that we've adapted also are part and parcel of making our people more poor, even to an extent when they would give you something, but then that's something that they've given you, it's even making you poor. It's like they say, well, we give you an RDP house. But now, when you get the house, firstly, that house you need to now get money, because that door of that house will not last you forever. So you need to get money to buy a new door. You need to maybe change the locks and all those things. You need to get money to build in cabinets and wardrobes and all that. So literally, their plan is literally that they give you something, but you're gonna take more out of yourself, money and so forth. So to make it as even to stable.
The way of reconciling, since the other world is already evolved, is there a way of now reconciling now? Somehow reconciling your way of life and what's already there, because there's no way the system that's already been built can go backwards.
Well,
so how do we
well, I believe that the system, as I said earlier, there can be a balance in the system. Remember, the biggest challenge of Aboriginal people across the world is we are people of nature, and we believe that the answer to everyone, to the whole changing, is nature. And we believe that there is some time that we will come to a point where we need to answer two things. Are we going to allow nature to die, or are we going to keep nature alive? Now, if we decide to kill nature, then it will be the end of us. So that is what we as the Aboriginals, First Nation people, that's why our preserving is about nature. We, to an extent, even us, when we're taking a plant out, it's not a matter of just breaking a plant. For us, it's a living being. So we would always take a strand of our hair where we broke it, we put it there. For us, we have taken from nature, we put in back nature. And that is also when we are hunting an animal. What we do is, when the animal is close to dead, we would bow ourselves down to the animals, apologize to the animal that we had to kill it, and say that, well, if we didn't kill it, then the family back home would die. And then even some of us would shed tears to the animal, and we take a strand of our hair, put it there where the animal dies. The same, it's like we've taken from nature the animal and we're putting back to nature something from us. As I said, the Northern Cape, the Western Cape, and the Eastern Cape, because that is where the majority of our people are. So if we look at land, that is why we look at that. So we have already spoken to that, to the yes, but as I said.
And the land is it for farming or just for residential land?
No, the land that we would have is basically it will be like we want to create also, like the other places, some sort of independence that area, but also independence in a sense that everyone is allowed to come to that or be in that. We call it, someone will be allowed to be there. Our ways of laws will be different. It will be laws of the land. So literally, if there will be no criminals in there, we send, but even our way of life will be different. We will have a balance with, as I said, it will be everyone that wants to. So it will be led by kingships. So it's not the government to political system, it will be led by kingship. So whatever we're doing is also to do with traditional or indigenous ways of life. We will still have the balance with the current systems where technology is also on the forefront. We will have the balance with technology, but to an extent also not to have our main goal the security of life, so meaning that we will all those criminals, they'll have to. The second one is poverty. We do not want to see poverty, and at this moment we are busy with plans how to get rid of poverty. Same through that plant, through the ganja, marijuana, cannabis, whatever you want to call it, through that plant. We know and we believe that it can be the end of poverty. So
how?
Well, there's a lot of ways through the medical side. Remember, most of our people, they will get sick, and we've got the medical side of the plant, also distribution of the plant. there's a lot of benefits from the plant and its cousin. I would call the hemp. It's the cousin of the cannabis. There's benefits. You could have clothing from hemp, which is the plant. You could have a lot of items from it, even to an extent that you could make bricks from the hemp. So there's a lot of potential of creating wealth. But for us, it's also we will also have returning avenues from whoever businesses is in that area. They will have to pay towards us and not towards the government. But for them, it would be much cheaper to an extent. If they would pay government 15% tax, we would then give them 10% tax and 2% for the community. So they have to show us what they've done in the community with that 2%. So yes, so from a business point of view, being in the so much more potential for the business to grow. And the growth of the business would also be even more levies for the people, because our main idea is that we want to create when they talk about us, then they will talk about and say, well, I want to stay there. So that would be the whole idea.
I get it's a whole ecosystem.
Yes.
That you want to create, aligned to the nation of the Khoisans.
Yes.
I totally get you. But how do you get by food and all that stuff?
I think for us here, it has always been a challenge for us to get food, because remember, nature, you don't need money. So here we are here in the city, we have to, there's lots of people that follow us though. They would then come, give donations, others would come and bring some groceries. So whatever you saw here, on the whole settlement here, it's basically the work of Good Samaritans that have followed us. They brought us some shelter, they brought us some this, they brought us chairs.
So it's all entirely from kindness of people bringing you something
it's all
and you can eat anything.
Yes, we eat anything, because now we in the cities, no more hunting of kudu and springbok, so we eat what.
But you'd be glad if I can bring one, like a springbok.
Yeah, we will jump up. We will jump up. We will bring a springbok or a kudu. So in the meantime, we are adapting until you bring it for us.
Okay. All right. No, that's fine. And you can cook it here.
Yeah. No, we've got the cooking area. We literally. What we've done is that you see the sand around you. We've literally created a stove out of it. We've taken it, we've added some water and other things that we put, and then we use what is around the stones and woodwork, and then we create a stove. So,
do you mind us seeing it?
Exactly. I was just coming to that.
I'll show you later, not with the footage, but I'll show you later.
Okay.
So yeah, and I think I always try to make a joke by saying that we're the only people. So yeah. So when you want to braai, you bring your braai. You said, King, we visit you, want to braai. Then the place is here. Your house is my house, and my house is your house. So yes, this is your house also. As an African, as a people.
So the Queen is staying here with you?
Yes, the Queen is staying with us here. As I said, unfortunately, she's not here. She's visiting back home. Remember, we literally cut off our connection with the outside world. My children, my grandchildren, I'll just have to see through the photos that they send. I haven't seen them from the time that we've been here. So that is quite a sacrifice that we have to make, but we believe that with everyone basically telling the story, with everyone putting the support and saying, now how can I change this? How can I do something about it? And what you've done today is also one of the areas that showing to the world that the first thing to show the world is that, well, you've heard about the Khoi and the Shan, the Khoisan people. These people are still alive. That's the first thing. Because most of the people, when they tell our stories, they say, we heard you guys, you're dead time. how did you come to this side? Some even tell stories that we went somewhere and then we returned. So yes, the story is sad. Our story is really sad. When we were here alone, our total of numbers were quite a lot. We were just over 50 million of us here in South Africa. But we were roaming around South Africa. Remember, for us it was, we believe that the creator of everything is God. So we were just put as the custodians of the land. So we were roaming around the whole of Africa to an extent that you'll find our people there in Zimbabwe, you find our people in Tanzania, others is also in Botswana, Namibia. So then when as I said, when we're alone here, the colonists starts coming in and they start putting the laws. First law they put on us was because they couldn't understand our language. They made a law that abolished our language. And they made sure that we're not going to speak our language. The woman, when they spoke the language, they would cut your breast off. If the men start speaking the language, they would cut your testicles off. So they made sure that we're not going to speak our language. Currently, only 30% of our people speak the language, our second language.
What could have been the reason for that?
Well, I think that it's the first part of getting to get the language away from us was also to alienate us. Remember, when one talk about language, and what a lot of people must understand, language is an identity on its own. The language you speak is your identity. So they needed to get rid of the ancient people, the first people of the land, and the only way is then they start getting the language from their mother tongue, even cutting our tongues out. The second law they did was to get land, because for them, when they saw the beautiness of the southern part of Africa, they started loving the place. And when they sent out people to go inland and they saw the beauty, they saw the coastal line, and they fall in love. And well, now they needed to get the people away. So the second law they put was a hunting law. They were given permits, literally, to hunt us. The permit would say that you could hunt a springbok and a kudu and any amount of Hottentot and Bushman. So when they saw us, they would shoot us. They got on their horses and the hunters like animals were running around, they shoot us. And then the magistrate told them that in order for you to get the land, you need to bring us evidence. And the evidence is bring us the heads of the Khoi and the San people. So after shooting us, they would chop our heads off. They would bring the heads to the magistrate. The more heads, the bigger the land. They didn't think much of that, because when they talk about us in their thesis that they done about the Khoi and the San, Hottentot and Bushman people, they said that these ones are closer to animals than human beings. Even some would say, of them would say that they are the missing link between animals and human beings. So that was their way of justifying what they've done to us. There was so much brutality that they inflicted on us, even our women. Lots of our women also to try to show us that they are powerful, the colonists. They would literally cut the vagina part out of a woman. They would drag the woman, obviously because of complications, the woman would die. For fun, they would tie our hands and tie our feet. There would be a horse on that side, horse on the other side. And they would chase the horse. One horse running that way, other one running the other way, ripping our bodies apart. Remember, they try to brag about it. When one looks at the genes which you call Levi, you'll see there's two horses. But literally, the middle part is not the genes. The middle part is us. That's how they still up until today trying to sow the genocide that they put on our people. They would go into our camps and literally rape our women. Some of our women would fall pregnant. On their return, they would come with their knives and just cut the stomach open and rip the unborn child out of her. Some of them, they would make large fires and then throw the unborn child in fire. The woman died of complications, but for them, it's literally nothing that they feel shamed about. Even I remember some years back, 2-3 years back, I don't think the gentleman was trying to brag about it, but when he saw what we wrote there, he acknowledged, he says, yes, my grandfather, a white man, he says, my grandfather got a hunting permit to hunt you guys. So yes, it's true. What you heard now today is not just something that is sucked out of our tongue, but the sad reality is that our own African brothers know about it to an extent that here we are. Almost their motive, they would say, we try to rectify the injustice done by apartheid. Yet, right in front of them, injustice has been done to us as the First Nation of South Africa, but yet they are ignoring it. It would be a sad reality that we would die here for our cause. We literally have said that until there's any change towards the 4 issues that we brought forward, we're prepared to die here. And for us, that means that's the highest order that one can do for a nation, but not only just to restore our nation, but to restore whole Africa, and to restore the human beings, our people as Africans, to an extent that although the colonists would brag to what he would call, when he came here, he says, I brought civilization. But who said we would not evolve up until today? I believe that we would have. But now what they have done is they literally try to control us, and they've done a very good job of it. They literally control us through everything that we do. I always tell the story when one needs to even to go to the other side of that road there's a grass area. And what they literally done is they're putting a paving. So when you, instead of crossing over the grass, you are following the paving. So when you follow the paving, it's literally their way of controlling. Because the paving is a longer way to the road, but through the grass is a shortcut. And that's just part of their ways, how they control our ways of life, the way we think. We do not think like Africans. Our way of thinking is what they have brought in us. Even what we talked earlier about the system of education. I always ask those guys, the professors, those guys that is high up in education. My question even to them is that they must so really prove that from all the things that we've learned from grade 1 or grade R to grade 12, and even some of us that went to college and university, they must show us proof that those things that we've learned, we've literally used of it. Little bit of it that we used. But yet we had to go through a whole schooling system in order for them to literally record everything. Because we have become the recorders. Whatever we've learned, they would capture it back and ask us questions in exams. Tell us the French Revolution, tell us this, tell us that. And we would then write what they've learned us, giving them feedback. So,
but tell me, I see the sign outside says Aboriginal Embassy. So I get you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much
for this insightful education. Yeah. We want the whole world to hear about this.